Testing 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Is this on? Let's run the intro.
Quiet on the set. It's go time.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate all of you jumping on here today. And I told you on my social media that I had a important announcement, and tonight's the night. So thank you for jumping on here. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. It's been a while since I've done a video, and I forgot actually how much time it takes to get ready for something like this. But I have a very important message for you guys. As you know, in 2020, we the people shook the foundation of the establishment Republicans by waking up the majority of conservatives, independents, and right-leaning Democrats in Washington state. You created a political firestorm all across Washington, the likes that has never been seen in this state before. Democrats, independents, and Republicans uniting, not as a political group of opponents, but as free Americans who are tired of the political class interfering in our lives, in our homes, and in our businesses. Black, white, brown, purple, or green. Color didn't matter. Income didn't matter. College educated or trade school educated, that didn't matter either. We all came together as Americans. We the people came together, united in our belief that common sense should rule, that we ought to be free to make our own choices on the medications we take, free to decide where our children would be educated, free to decide how they would be educated, and free to decide how we would worship our Creator, or even if we would. It should be up to us, we the people, not as a collective group of sheep bleating out and following whoever's chosen to lead us, but as a free and independent individual citizen who can make our own choices about our own lives, about our own businesses, and about our own children. Now, we have a corrupt and evil dictator sitting in Olympia who ordered us to close our businesses, close our schools, and close our churches. We were told by our dictator that the only way to salvation against this onslaught was to submit to an untested medication and comply to his mandates of what we wear, where we go, and how we interact with each other. When we the people didn't comply in the numbers they wanted, then it was either comply or lose your job. Many people did, losing their income, losing their career, their business, and their means to support their families. The socialist named Bob Ferguson will do the same, and so will Rhino Republicans. There were many Rhino Republicans that also went along with the charade or even mocked you for voting for me, like the leader of the Republican Party in the state Senate, Senator John Braun, when he said, "Who is Loren Culp?" They didn't lift a finger to help, and some even profited from it. Take, for example, Washington State Representative J.T. Wilcox. He was a leader of the Republican caucus in our state legislature and is still in the legislature. He has no fight in him. I wonder why. His essential family business received over $3 million of taxpayer money, and over $1 million of that was a gift. A gift. Your tax money. Gifted to connected politicians who didn't lift a finger to help you fight to replace Jay Inslee. Many of these politicians on the right and the left received big money from Big Pharma. They will sell you out for a buck at every opportunity as long as it benefits them. Now, these same politicians and rhinos in the party are pushing for the election of one of their own kind to be elected governor. And I'm speaking of Dave Reichert, the former sheriff of King County and former congressman. The news media and rhinos are telling you he is the only one who can win. We heard the same thing in 2020 in the race for governor. Remember that guy, Josh Freed? He was the chosen one at the time of the Washington political insiders, the establishment. He got the big name endorsements from the Washington State insiders. He was the only one with big money. He was the only one who could win. Just like now, that was a lie. We the people pummeled him in the primary and left the other 36 candidates in the dust. We the people, from all walks of life, told the establishment where they could stuff their chosen one. I even got 300,000 to 400,000 more votes than the establishment candidates from the 2 election cycles before, and humiliated Inslee in the debate. So here we are 4 years later, and what do we have? The same tired Washington political insiders telling us who to vote for, propping up someone who has a worse voting record than some socialist Democrats when it comes to economic and constitutional issues. Dave Reichert is the establishment's pick, but should he be your pick? Many people are very happy to go along with the pick of someone else. It makes it easy not to have to decide or to do any homework. But I know from 2020 that we the people are wide awake now. We don't take someone's word for anything anymore. So why don't we look under the hood at something that can't lie? Something that reveals the true nature of someone, their true character as a politician, and their true intentions as a politician. Let's look at Reichert's voting record. It can't lie. This is not my opinion. This isn't innuendo. This is fact. His facts, because they are his votes. Now, when we get through looking under the hood and you see the truth, who you vote for is up to you. But I know most of you are not going to like what you see. That is, if you believe in smaller, less intrusive, common sense government that cares about the working hard, playing hard American, the people who just want to be left alone, go to work and raise your family how you see fit. When it comes to economic and constitutional issues, Dave Reichert voted like Nancy Pelosi. And here's the facts. The Club for Growth and the Freedom Index are 2 congressional rating websites. The Freedom Index rates congressmen and women on constitutional issues, and the Club for Growth rates congressmen on reducing tax rates, reducing the size and scope of the federal government, cutting spending and regulations. And Reichert's congressional voting record is dismal, to say the least. Let me share this screen for you. This is the Club for Growth website. You can go to clubforgrowth.org and you can click on there and look under scorecards and look up any congressman over any number of years and look at their voting record. And here's just a little bit about the Club for Growth. It's a national network of over 500,000 pro-growth, limited government Americans who share in the belief that prosperity and opportunity come from economic freedom. The Club for Growth is a leading free enterprise advocacy group in the nation. And here's some key issues that they look for when they rate congressmen and women: how they vote on reducing income tax rates, how they vote about the current tax code, repeal of Obamacare and abusive laws through medical malpractice, reducing the size and scope of the federal government, cutting government spending and passing a balanced budget amendment, regulatory reform and deregulation, and school choice. Those are among some of the things that they look at when they decide the rating of a member of Congress and whether they vote in line with real conservative issues or not. And here is the website of the New American. And if you go to the newamerican.com, you can click on the Freedom Index and you can search by name, by state, by party, and look up any congressman or woman. And here's the record of Dave Reichert every year that he was in Congress. And you can click on these and look at the individual votes if you want to. But this shows the score. Dave Reichert's score for his lifetime in Congress, when his votes are looked at through the lens of the Constitution, he has a 40% lifetime score. His lowest was when he first went into Congress at 23%. The highest he ever got was 51%. So less than 50% of the time, usually in the low 40s, sometimes in the 20s, Dave Reichert was not in line with the Constitution. That means 60 to 70% of the time, he was voting against the Constitution, against his oath of office, and against the American people. So there you have that. And not only his voting record, which shows that he is not a person who kept his oath of office or upheld and defended the Constitution. I mean, his voting record clearly shows that. He is for more government intrusion into our lives. Reichert even praised Jay Inslee on his handling of the pandemic in an interview, which to me, in and of itself, is absolutely pathetic. Don't expect Dave Reichert to stand up for you in the future. He won't, because he's weak-minded. He flails in the wind like a loose kite. We, the people, need to reject what the political insiders want. We need to recognize them for what they are: manure salesmen with a mouthful of samples. And I'm kind of done with manure. How about you? We're done with weak-kneed career politicians. We are done bending our knee to them. We don't need Rhino Reichert. We need someone for we the people. You know, a lot has changed over the last few years. Many of the do-nothing establishment types have been purged by you in many of the county Republican parties. And we have a new chair for the state Republican Party, who I know believes in individual freedom and liberty. Now, I read all of your comments on my social media after I posted that I had a big announcement tonight. I know the vast majority of you are hoping that I'm going to announce my candidacy for governor. And it pains me to disappoint you, but I am not. As some of you know, my wife had a couple run-ins with cancer. She had a tumor removed from inside her head and one removed from inside her chest. She's doing fine now and is currently cancer-free. She's also been dealing with several osteoporosis issues where several of her vertebrae just snap, and had to go through several surgeries because of that. But thankfully, that hasn't happened for a while. We just got through celebrating our 45th wedding anniversary this month on August 5th, and we have been together since we were 16 years old in high school. She is the absolute love of my life, and I cannot imagine going through another statewide campaign where we spent so much time apart or on the road. I need to be here with her, and I have always stood by the motto of God, family, and country, and in that order. And I may not be running for a statewide office, but that doesn't mean I won't be running for another office in the future, nor does it mean I'm out of the fight now. I'm also just a working stiff, just like most of you. I have bills to pay. I have a job, and campaigning statewide requires months, if not years, on the road. And I can't do a statewide campaign right now. I have to be closer to home for my wife, and I have to be here for my job. Now, that may or may not be bad news for you, depending on how you feel or what you may read into the last statement. But I have some real good news for most of you right now. I know a man who is strong, well spoken, a military veteran, and one of we the people. He is running for governor, and I know he will make a great governor when it comes to smaller government, less taxes, more individual freedom, and parents' rights. I met him and talked with him. We had lunch together, and we had quite an extensive conversation. I have all the confidence in the world in this man. I know he'll fight for you, unlike Rhino Reichert, who isn't a fighter and didn't stand up for you, according to what's important, like, his voting record. The man I'm about to tell you about is a fighter, and his name is Semi Bird. He has stood up for parents' rights. He has stood up and fought as a Green Beret for our country. It's time to replace the career politicians with career Americans. And Semi Bird is 100% a career American. He was born to a single mother of 7 children in the ghetto of East Oakland. And his mother raised him as a Christian and never tolerated the victim mentality in her household, no matter what their economic situation was. Semi Bird took his mother's advice and decided to make something of himself. And he did exactly that. Semi Bird is a veteran of the United States Marines and the U.S. Army, where he served as a Special Forces Green Beret combat engineer. He has been awarded the Bronze Star for Valor. The Bronze Star for Valor. Think about that. Wounded in action, he received the Purple Heart. He was also awarded the Meritorious Service Medal and 4 Army Commendation Medals, among others. Because of his experience, he became a senior advisor to a U.S. ambassador, among many other positions. He has a bachelor's degree in business administration and a master's of science degree. Semi Bird was attacked viciously by the left for standing up for parents' rights as a member of the school board in Richland, Washington. Thousands of dollars from outside the district was used to smear him in the media. But did that stop him? No, it didn't. He knows how to stand firm for us. He didn't waver. He stood up for parents' rights. As our next governor, he will stand and fight for you and make parents' rights a high priority, despite the attacks from the far left, who for some reason want to continually sexualize our children. Semi Bird will stand for you. He will stand for our children. He will stand for our businesses, and he will stand for freedom. The mainstream media and the establishment politicians don't want you to know who this man is because he's not in their club. They want you to focus on who they tell you to focus on. Someone from the Uniparty. Someone who will do their bidding regardless of what's good for the citizens and our freedoms. But we don't need any more the rich men from north of Richmond. The career politicians, the manure salesmen. We need more career Americans, and that is Semi Bird 100%. Mr. Bird is very well qualified to run, and I wholeheartedly endorse him for governor, and I ask you to do the same, just as you did for me. Please give Semi Bird your full support. Our state depends on you to give Olympia the bird. His website is birdforgovernor.com. Check it out and make the largest donation that you can, you guys. Do the same thing next month and the month after that. This man will beat the establishment pick, Rhino Reichert, and we, the people behind him, he will go on to be our next governor. Now, there's going to be big money spent against Semi Bird and you, just like was spent against me and you. But we, the people, are wide awake now more than ever in history. We will flood the ballot box if we all participate. Do not give in. Do not give up. That's what they want. Push him over the top and tell all your friends to do the same thing, you guys. God bless you and thank you. Barb and I feel your love. And we ask that you support Semi Bird for governor. Birdforgovernor.com. United we stand. Together we can. Good night. God bless you guys.